of Connecticut.
All right, so now I get to talk about one of my absolutely favorite topics, and that is happiness with Valerie Alexander. Hello, Valerie.
Hi, Mary. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for joining us. Valerie Alexander writes all about happiness as a second language. I love it, Valerie. I love the whole... Well, let me back up a little bit. Happiness is something that I talk a lot about on the show. I actually kind of developed what I call a happiness meter several years ago and talk about that with our listeners. So anything with that word in it just catches my eye. And when I was reading about your happiness as a second language, it's a step-by-step guide where you can learn happiness in the same way that one learns a new language. I said, I have to meet this woman. So thank you for joining us.
Sure.
So how did this come to you?
Well, it's interesting. A few years ago, my husband and I were going through some really immensely difficult times, both family-wise. We lost a baby. Some other very bad things were happening. And my husband at one point commented to me, he said, I can't believe you can stay happy during all of this. And I replied, I was also kind of taken aback because I hadn't really realized it. And I said, well, it's strange because that's not even my native language. And as soon as I said that, I realized that was true. This is not my native language. This is not how I was raised, that you're happy no matter what your circumstances are. And I want to also clarify that statement, which is I had days when I was, balled up in bed with grief, but it didn't stop me from being happy at my core. Deep down, I still knew I was going to be happy. I knew that when these times passed, the happiness would return. And it also didn't make any sense to be miserable all the time in those circumstances. That doesn't change your circumstances.
It does not change your circumstances.
And in fact, responding with joy, responding with optimism actually does change your circumstances. And when I started to really look at that and really think about it, I had to say, okay, well, if happiness is something I had to learn anew in my life, then there must be a method for doing it. There must be steps that people can take if it doesn't come naturally to them. And so I started writing down those steps. I started coming up with that plan, and that's the book flowed out of that.
And your book came out how long ago?
The book came out in May 1st.
Okay, so 6 months ago, or not quite that many. But congratulations, by the way. And now Valerie gives workshops everywhere and teaches happiness as one learns a new language so we can be fluent in happiness. I just love that.
Thank you.
Just love it. So give us because some people right now are probably thinking, oh, really? So this woman with Mary are trying to tell me that I can learn to be happy. Now, where do I begin doing that?
Well, there are some really basic, easy techniques to start with, and I'll share one of them with you now that people might discount when they first hear it, but I really want everyone to try it. And this is saying, I'm a happy person. And you have to say it the right way, which is prepare yourself for it right now. If your listeners could close their eyes, unless they're driving, but visualize pure happiness. Visualize having the relationships you want, being loved in the way you want to be loved, having the respect that you want, having the career responsibilities and rewards that you need in life, living in the house you want, having the financial rewards you want, eating whatever you want. Visualize all of that. Pile all that happiness on. And then when you understand what that feels like, out loud say, I'm a happy person. And remember that feeling and remember that tone. And then next time you're in a challenging situation, next time you're stuck in traffic and you have somewhere to be, or you're waiting 45 minutes in the doctor's office, or the ref has just blown a call on your kid, or you, if you're still out there playing. that flash back to this feeling and then say, I am a happy person. Because saying that can diffuse all of that anxiety. Saying it brings all the implications of that statement, which happy people don't let traffic on the highway ruin their day. Happy people don't get mad at their doctor because she spent an extra 15 minutes with one of her other patients. You know, happy people don't embarrass themselves or their kids by screaming at the rats in the field. And as soon as you say it, it reminds you, no, I am happy, and my happiness is more important than whatever the result of these circumstances are.
Well, and along with that, speaking with Valerie Alexander, it's a matter of recognizing and really learning deep down in our core that those external things don't make us happy. The happiness really comes from within. I mean, we can choose to be happy. We're not happy because X, Y, Z happened to us, because that can be just fleeting stuff. We're happy because we decided in that moment, chose in that moment to be happy.
That was actually one of the really important focuses of the book for me, which was, foci, I guess, of the book, was I wanted to make sure that anybody could do the exercises in any circumstances. I didn't want the exercises in that book to be dependent on an income level or relationships. The verbs in the language of happiness, the verbs are respect, remember, reward, and release. Because those verbs can be done if you're single, if you're married, if you're old, young, unemployed, whatever's going on in your life, you can actively practice those verbs. And that's why, like, love isn't one of them. Love is the result of all of this. But if you don't have it already, if you're not there, if you're not in a place where you're open to it, you need to do exercises that can get you there.
And one of the things I love, Valerie, and I think this to myself a lot, I say it on the show a lot, that we can do it. I mean, we all have so much more control over our lives and our happiness than we realize, and certainly more than we take advantage of. And I love that. I mean, that is so powerful.
It's very funny because I think one of the other aspects for me of learning happiness is allowing ourselves to be human beings. I've read a lot of these various rules of happiness articles or guides. I read one. It was 18 rules of happiness, and one of them was don't have negative thoughts. Now,
good luck with that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm one of the happiest people I know, and at least once an hour I have a negative thought. So I think that one of the things we also have to do, there's a German word, Schadenfreude, and it's the joy we get at the misfortune of others. And that should clearly not be your primary source of happiness. But if some guy is screaming into his cell phone while he's obstructing traffic and carrying his $4 latte, and he trips and spills the drink and drops the phone, and you get a little giggle out of that, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up for that. Happiness is good regardless of the source it comes from, again, unless it's at the expense of others. And you don't really want that to be your main source of happiness, but also don't hold yourself to a standard that human beings can't meet.
That's right. Oh, I love that. Valerie Alexander, happiness as a second language. So you do give workshops?
Yes.
Is that right? Where are you based, by the way? What state?
I'm in Los Angeles.
You are? Oh, okay. All right. Well, if you ever come to Hartford, Connecticut, you need to look us up. We'd love to have you come in studio and meet in person and share the studio with you. Valerie Alexander, happiness as a second language. I love it. It's all about teaching happiness step by step in the same manner as one would learn a new language. So you can be fluent in happiness.
Thank you so much.
Valerie, thank you. Could you give your website, please?
It's speakhappiness.com.
And I actually did put a link to that on ours this morning. So speakhappiness.com. Valerie Alexander, thank you very much.
Sure.
Take care. Now, I liked her. I liked her. And you don't think about happiness in terms of learning it in that way, as if you're learning another language, but maybe we should. Maybe we should.